I decided to make a quick stop at a coffee shop before my acting class today because my energy was pretty shot. Want to get a little bit of energy before I go into that class. And as I sat here, I decided to bring the mic to see what I could yap about today. And the thought that occurred to me was that, man, like I'd just seen so many pretty girls just casually walk by. And just regular daytime, walking by coffee shops and all. And it makes me think, like, what an absolutely stupid decision it is to try to go to a club with the intention of finding a girl there. Because by default, obviously, when you're going there, every single one of them is a hoe. Not a single one of them is worth taking serious. It's just by default. So, when you intend to find one at a club, you could still have fun, recreational use only. And it's fun to do that here and there every once in a while, but I think I want to start dealing with women more who I can see myself actually starting a family with. Even if it doesn't work out monogamously with her, still having a kid with her. But I wouldn't want to just give my offspring to a random fucking whore that, I find in some club. Ideally, I would like it to be with a woman who's got some values that I could admire and be proud of. And so when my kid ends up going to school, he's not made fun of for his mother being an absolute fucking whore. Ideally, of course. Ideally. But that's the kind of trade-off you have to decide to make as well when you're deciding if you want to focus on genetics versus values. And it's a difficult choice because obviously the better genetics they have, which your offspring will receive, the more likely they are to fall into certain activities that may not exactly align with your values because they just have so many opportunities. It's so unlikely for somebody, a woman with extremely incredible genetics to actually successfully remain a virgin and stay away from such bad activities. And so it's like a thing you have to weigh. And what we just recently saw with Clavicular is he's kind of completely given up on the whole values thing, and he's just been like, yeah, it's all about genetics. That's all I really care about. I'm just going to have a kid with this girl who already has an OnlyFans page, which even he acknowledges is repulsive and disgusting. But, of course, this could just be him trying to farm engagement, too, and profit off of his 80-20 split with the OnlyFans girls, and he's actually not intending to get them pregnant. That's a possibility as well. But I don't want to completely neglect the possibility that he might actually be serious, because some people do have that mindset. I know there's certain days where I even consider that mindset as well. Like, it is so extremely uncommon, so rare to actually come across not just a woman, but just somebody in general, another human being who actually has very admirable values, let alone not just a virgin, but, because that is extremely rare, but let's say maybe, one or two. Even that is so extremely rare to come by. And then you combine the fact with you want good genetics for your child. That combination is so extremely rare. And we see with Clavicular, even with him being a good-looking guy, having lots of money, fully status maxed, having the largest reach possible for a kid his age, even him, he's struggling to find a good-looking girl who also happens to have good qualities and values. That's the trouble he's running into. He's attracting good-looking girls for sure. Great genetic quality. You could have some good-looking kids, but these girls are most of the time completely repulsive in terms of their values. And assuming he's telling the truth, then he's completely given up on the value aspect and just decided to go full-blown optimizing genetics, which I fear may be the route I end up having to take. And if that is the case, then I wouldn't remain monogamous, of course, because you would never want to be monogamous with a woman whose values you don't respect and all. I would want to be monogamous with a woman whose values I respect, who is pure, a woman that I could respect and admire beyond her looks. That would be my ideal life, honestly, to start a family with just one and not have to, deal with multiple. My high testosterone still makes it where I would get those cravings where, I tend to get bored very fast and I want something, a little bit unique. What's up?
But we don't allow smoke.
Oh, no smoking allowed?
So,
No worries.
I mean, you can just literally stand one step.
Yeah, right here?
There, it's perfectly
I'll stand right here.
Just not at the table. So.
Nah, no worries. It's okay. In life, you always want to ask for forgiveness, not permission. You see, I foreseen this as a possibility, and that's precisely why I didn't ask. That's precisely why instead I just decided to start, because I got, a good 10 minutes getting to sit down and enjoy it, but now I have to stand, but it's all right. I'm trying to remember where I was. I don't exactly remember what I was talking about. I lost my train of thought. Something along the lines of optimizing genetics instead of seeking someone out for their values. Oh, right. I was saying that I would ideally like to be monogamous. I would like to have a family with just one and a woman that I admire, but I recognize in the modern day, the modern environment, that's probably not realistic. At least if I'm trying to find one with above average genetics, because that, to be honest, is my main priority. It's looking out for my future offspring, and I think I would be willing to sacrifice my own personal enjoyment and perception by the public. I would prefer to ensure that I'm doing my possible best to ensure that my offspring has an ideal life. And I know exactly what is needed for an ideal life. Being black-pilled, we know the truth. I know I got to seek out one that has a decent height, possibly light eyes, ideal pheno. All these things, they matter a lot for the kid's future. And whether they're a female or a male, it doesn't matter. These are things that are going to make their life a whole lot better. And I would be willing to put my future offspring before myself. So if that means I have to get with a woman who people are going to disrespect me and make fun of me for being with for the sake of my offspring, I think I still would do it. It wouldn't be my first choice, but it would be my priority, because I care more about the quality of life of my future offspring and their success rather than my own. Gotta have super low inhibition to do this, but that's me. I really just don't give a single fuck at all about what people think about me anymore. I used to always try to control the narrative and control people's perceptions so much, but I've changed a lot. I've matured more, and I really have just let go completely now, and I don't give a single fuck, you know? And that's great. It also means that alcohol has no positive effect on me at all. And consequently, I've decided to stop drinking. Prior, the only reason I would really drink is because it would be neurotypical, you know, you just kind of, you go have a drink just to fit in and seem normal with everyone else. Did any of you guys do that? Because like I never really wanted to drink. I would just do that so I could, you know, have something to hold and not seem like a fucking nerd when I'm out at the bar or whatever. But now I just, you know, I get a club soda, get a Red Bull, whatever, you know, because it just doesn't fucking matter. I really don't give a shit anymore. And I get nothing out of the alcohol other than a hangover. I literally just get hungover, a little bit disoriented, but I never get any of the happy effects from it. I don't get that enjoyment that most regular people seem to get. And I guess that's a blessing, you know, that's probably a good thing. Because I literally just have no desire to drink at all. What were we talking about before? We were talking about, oh yeah, the decision to prioritize genetics over values. Yeah, so if I had to choose, you know, gun to my head, I had to make a decision on what matters more, I would probably go the genetic route because I would put my offspring before myself. Even though they don't exist yet, just the idea of them existing and knowing how things would play out in the future, it makes me want to prioritize them over myself. But in an ideal world, you know, obviously you want to have both. You know, I would love to find a good-looking one that also happens to have good values. And going back to how we started this conversation, you're not going to find that in the club. I mean, come on, you guys should know this by now. Like, by default, every single one of them, it's cooked. Chalk it up, you know? But, yeah, I mean, I guess out here could be some opportunity, you know? I think you should make a goal to every single day just take a walk outside and, you know, whether it's to go to Barnes & Noble and pick up a book or just enjoy walking. Maybe you walk to dinner alone. You don't need someone to come with you to do this. You know, you go by yourself, little self-adventure, little side quest, and don't have the intention of trying to make a friend or whatever, but just go out and go on your little side quest, and assuming you're not a sub 5, then spontaneously something might happen. Just like what I talked about recently happened with the Stacy that gave me a temporary dopamine spike. Yeah, I think that's a far better strategy for potentially finding someone instead of going to the club. I mean, because you know, they're all, every single one of them is cooked.